Hello and welcome. Here we are again. Marianne is back for today. And we have, as I said in the Facebook post, an interesting theme going with the flow. And Marianne is going to take us into the first space, and then we'll go from there as usually.
Okay, thank you, Karina, and happy I'm back again. And thank you for allowing me to take care of myself
Oh,
because it was really on top of it. It really didn't feel right for me to come live as I wasn't really present enough to have a conversation in whatever
yeah.
way it would go. So thank you for that.
Oh,
And that leads into, yeah, the flow. What is the flow? What is the flow? And I can say that last week I was even more confronted with what it means following the energy, staying in the flow of myself, what is required of myself, because we have several flows. We have the flow of community, we have the flow planetary, we have the flow of our families, etc., etc. But really following the flow of myself was presented in a different way this time, and I loved it. It was not at ease. I went really deep because it is something I chose to go, really diving deep into myself to discover even more what is my flow, my flow, the who I am. And interestingly, we had it several times already spoken about during past Facebook Lives about the change for ourselves, and that it looks often as who am I? Who am I today? There is so much change going on that I don't know any longer who I am. But as a sudden, we do know who we are as we catch something. And I explained to you yesterday that the nature of the flow I chose to be with and go through the last week was a kindly different as before, as even now today, I still can't say, who am I? And at the same time, I can say, I am all of me. There is a knowing now that I am all of me. I'm not sure how I want to express everything of me, what that flow of me brings me and leads me to, etc. What do I want to say about this flow? There is so much to say about being the flow, staying present with the flow, and all the flows within. As you see the sea, the ocean, it is always flowing in a
mhm.
way, always, or it's flowing inwards or outwards, upwards, downwards. There are several flows within the ocean. And I noticed for myself that I am also all those flows.
Mm.
It's not that I have to look for my flow in one direction or another as excluding all those other flows. What if my flow is all those flows, being nature, being the ups and the downs, as I went really down. But at the same time, that really down is also going up really high. As the higher we can fly, the deeper we can fall. But the deeper we are willing to go, the higher we can fly also. So it is like discovering in another way the silence of the flow also. Make that sense if I'm saying it like that. Because I chose to be silent, even though I went so deep that for days I couldn't eat, drink, speak. All was, all was, and it was okay. So in a way, it was the flow of the silence I am. And within that flow of silence, there was palpable all the directions, the different flows showed me new things, other things.
Mm-hmm.
And most of it, the first 2, 3 days were showing me all the flows I was holding on to, which no longer, in a way, weren't existing. So weren't serving any longer because those flows already were gone due to the work I have done in the past with myself, for example.
I can, it's funny. I can't get it, and at the same time, there it's sort of like my brain screams, "Oh, wait a second, how can you hold on to a flow?
Exactly.
That is
Exactly.
not possible. You can't hold on to something that is moving, and yes, you can hold on to it and be dragged along, so to speak."
It is, Karina, and I hear you, that brain twist like, huh? A
Yeah.
flow is movement, so how can you hold on? But it was really discovering for myself, like, wow, there are quite a lot of flows I'm still holding on.
And it's funny because StreamYard asks you, what is this what is this life all about? And sitting with the question, I said, going with the flow and self-care. Because
Yes.
how much do we actually explore self care in the context of going with the flow? Going with the flow means at work, we're going with the flow, creating something, we're going with the flow. But self care is usually not included in that. And when that thought popped, I said, "Oh, that's interesting. Let's put that."
Yeah. And it's interesting you bring this up, the self care, because that was really what I was choosing, that
Yeah.
self care as being, as I listened several times to a podcast of Matthias, explaining him about the elements we exist,
Hmm.
same elements of earth. So we we are the earth, we are nature. And this theme I took with me in my self-care, as also noticing for myself, if I nourish all the elements I am, what would that create?
Mm. Yeah.
And I noticed that because I said I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink 3 days, I slept the first 2, 3 days more than 20 hours a day. Yeah, I couldn't stay awake, but we know also that it's not because of our body sleeping that we are sleeping. We can continue as being present with it. And my body didn't require to take in food because I was present with the elements. I was exploring the
Hmm.
oxygen. I was exploring the yeah, the names in English. are not that good with me, but I was exploring to be all those elements, and I was talking a lot with the water in my body, the water in the earth, the trees, and also the symbiosis, as due to the roots of the trees,
Mm-hmm.
how we communicate. But yeah, that's part of me. So I allowed myself to be elemented by nature in a complete different way than we used to be by food, because we're taking the food, and food is also coming from earth.
Yeah.
So we element ourselves also due to the earth. But this time I chose even there to explore in silence every element. It was an interesting journey. It was really an interesting journey.
I can imagine. And I mean, I talked with a friend on the weekend and said, God, I'm so damn tired. And she said, Oh, I'm tired too. And initially I thought it was because I organized this event and realized, no, that wasn't it. And what she suggested is maybe we're still feeling the after effects of the, both, even maybe the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, and also that the solar winds are relatively strong compared to other times in the year. And if that is affecting us, it's not that we know for sure, oh, this is. And at the same time, it shows me how much we want to have an explanation for what is going on instead of just being with it and allowing it and exploring it, what you did. And no, I can relate to you talking about being tired, because God, was I tired the last two, 3 days, and I could have slept almost 24 hours. I forced myself to be up and to do a few things that needed to be done, but I also took a lot of naps in between.
Yes, yes.
To take care of both myself and what if we, I just realized, what if I have a 9 to 5 job? I cannot do what I did the last few days because I took a nap when I felt really tired, and then I was up and I did something, and then I went back to sleep, so to
Yes.
speak, taking another nap. And how much are we actually taking ourselves out of the flow by living unnaturally?
And that, Karina, because I was so grateful that I don't have that 9 to 5 job. So I really could choose to be. And, I heard all those voices as you require to put that in place and to
Mm-hmm.
arrange this and this, as there is still paperwork with for my dad's funeral aftercare also to arrange. But it was like, no, somehow there is no hurry, there is no rush. It's not required. If I keep putting myself under whatever stress, whatever pressure, because I define it still, it is now required to do this and this and this and this, or in a way, keep going with the belief system that it is required, I wouldn't had the possibility to explore what I explored now. And what became really clear for me was like, heck, even though I thought already that I was being and doing so much more that I love, that
Mhm.
is me, it became clear like how many things I still put it aside and did not allow myself to explore. Because when I take the time, the space to truly explore myself with every flow there is, then definitely in lesser way than it is already now, I don't fit in. And it opened up for me another way to be also with the flow, the currency of myself, related to the currency as we know as money. And to explore, I went into that, and in the element within the money, whatever it is, it was like, let me be in that currency of money as I know it. Is this true for me? Is this the true currency? If I flow as myself, then I am the currency. I am nature. Nature is abundant. So there will be abundance. As still, how would I say it? I let it go of a few more ideas, even about currency. You know, with the food we're taking, food is also a currency. And by allowing and being myself with every element I am, allowing myself being the earth, I notice that we don't require that much food
Mhm.
from outside. And that took me in a flash, like there are still so many things related to money because we think we need them, we require them, because we need money to pay our food, we need money to pay our rent, we need money to pay the light. There
Yeah.
are so many things that we still believe we need them instead of being the currency, the true currency, our own currency, which lead into expanding other flows, other currencies. We bother still too much. We think still too much of how to put everything in place, while in nature everything is in place and it moves.
You know, what that brings up for me is how many assumptions do we have that this, that, and the other is required for me to live? And so we stress, we struggle with those requirements one way or another. And instead of looking at, is this really required? Like, uh, I remember when going camping, uh, you you basically are up during daylight and you go to bed, so to speak, as the sun sets, and you get up with the sun It's not quite exactly that way because you have that grayish time in between, but what is wrong with that? And how much does it change, though, when, for instance, between winter and summer? The day is a lot shorter in the winter. Is that contributing to our self care by having quiet time, inactive time, because we don't have daylight to do things, and
Yes,
we
yes.
have time to hibernate, to sleep, to contemplate, to be with something in a similar way that nature does. I
It
mean,
is
as the
clean.
days get longer, relaying to what you say, being nature, there is all this abundance of growth and activity. And then goes into high gear to produce the fruit, quote unquote,
Exactly.
and then start slowing down again.
Yeah.
And how much are we out of rhythm?
Completely, Karina, because how much are we stimulated outside of us due to the internet, the television? There
Mhm.
is 24 hours, 7 a day, always that stimulation, stimulation, stimulation. And I noticed within those days of really going into the silence and in the flow, I acknowledged how much pressure I put it on myself due to I was curious and I wanted to learn so much, and I was watching this and listening this and go on because everything was of my interest. I loved it and I learned so much. But is it natural way of, yeah, is that a natural flow in nature as going in high speed? It is nearly high speed, and yes, we notice it that time goes faster and faster, but how much pressure do we put ourselves in?
Yeah.
And we have an explanation why we do it, wherefore we do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I loved it, and I love to learn. I love to
Yeah,
learn new
I
things.
hear
I
you.
love to explore. But what if, and that is what I'm choosing now, is I allow myself explore differently now. And that is inclusive the time to take everything in and let it land and being present. So there is also the time and space to know what the result is or how what the effect is of what I learned, instead of, oh, it's interesting, and yes, it is resonating with me, and yes, it's stimulating me, and yes, 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 I'm a kind of a woman, always yes, 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 yes. I'm going.
Yeah.
But what if I also go yes, 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 with within and within deeper? I can also there going yes, 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 and taking the space and the time.
It's basically translating what you're saying for myself, and I don't know if that fits for you, but it is learning something and then exploring how does what I just learned look like if I live it or when I live it.
Becoming
To
it, yes,
apply, to actually apply it and take it out of the intellectual realm where it's just up here
yes,
into a experiential realm. And for me, often the question has been, how does this look like lived? It's nice to have theoretical knowledge, but what does it mean to live it?
Exactly, exactly. And how fast were you to live it? As we are really
Yeah,
fast beings, we can adapt in a way. The things that resonate, they click in, and in a way you become it
yeah.
immediately. Is that already, how is it living it? Because it is clicking in, you
Yeah.
become it. But hmm, is is it fully explored already?
And even if it's not 100% explored, even if it's only like 75% explored. And what I'm realizing listening to you, how much is moving to an lift, to a way of living something, creating change, not just in me, the being in my psyche, but also in my body, which is through the restructuring, then requiring downtime
Yeah,
to to work it all out, to adapt to it, to adjust to it, or whatever you want to call it. And that is to some extent, if the change is intense. And I have to admit, the change that is going on for me recently is way more intense than any change that I have been doing. And I have been changing for a long time, but it was incremental change. And now it's sort of like, whew, a whole big chunk of change in one fell swoop. And is that the effect? And are we willing to go with that?
yeah,
Are we willing to explore that and be with it?
exactly. And body is going along. Our bodies are really changing, and we don't see it as yet. The human body still has the shape of a human body, we as we know it, but at the same time, how it is becoming more fluid in a way, and it is still in the form as in compact, but it is functioning differently
Yeah.
because we let go so many things. There are flows our bodies can be now. It is so different, yes. And you are chuckling, tell me.
Yeah, the thought that just popped for me is letting go of all those assumptions and beliefs. I'm letting go of the structure with which I'm holding up my body and allowing it to, for to take on the form or shape or space that is more in alignment with where I am right now. It's almost like I'm not squeezing it into those
Yes,
things, and that creates a shift.
it creates a lot of shifts. As is it also for you that it is more become more ease living with your body,
Yes,
as in together we are being here together, as not in a separation.
that is definitely one thing. And the thought that just occurred to me too is, if somebody listening to what we're talking about, they say, oh, I don't want to change, because if that is all the side effects, that I'm going to be sleepy and tired. And what if the two of us being willing to explore that and deal with the tiredness that is right now, because I'm not getting that this is going to be in the future,
No.
that we will find a way. Oh, if I do this, then that will go on for me, and can put that out for people to explore, that counteracts that tiredness that you and I are right now experiencing as a result of being willing to go with the flow that we are in. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean we have to get out of the flow, but the flow can change.
That's Karina. The flow can change, as I say it in the weekend, not the last weekend before, when it all started to go really deep down. I slept nearly 24 hours, more than 20 hours a day, but I allowed that flow, and I was not making it wrong, but listening to it. And sleep is also something powerful. During the sleep, we can digest in a way so many things that are going, flowing, coming in, going out. And during that sleep, we let go of our mind control. So we can really merge into whatever is required
Yeah.
to be and do. And as I saw it, yeah, after 7 days, it starts to be boring in a way to notice that tiredness also, because yeah, I wanted to start to do more things, and not doing from do, but creating, yeah, manifesting more ideas that came across. But noticing after an hour, 2 hours, it was enough. It was enough. And then saying, okay, I'm done. And I lay down and I rest and I be.
Mm-hmm.
And now, yesterday, I noticed that there was a big turnaround, as in, oh, my body does not require that sleep or that much sleep from now on. Not making it like, yeah, I'm there, or not making it wrong again. It is what it is. And today I noticed that I already could, sitting up, doing things on the computer, being with the paperwork I was putting aside because I hadn't the brain to be with it. So I started to notice, oh, today I already did quite a bit of all that work. Because what if everything is always done in time?
What if that, and also um, what I know from myself um, was, for instance, when I was editing photos after a shoot, I didn't notice any time passing. It felt like I had worked for maybe an hour, and I looked at the clock, and it had been 4 or 5 hours.
Exactly.
It's that intensity of focus and the speed with which we work impacts also how awake or tired or the body is, because the body is also part of that working rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really it's an interesting exploration. And I know I can go, I'm somebody who can easily go to my head and use logic and, you know, all of that. And then being willing to say, okay, let's stay with it, let's be with it and explore it. How much change is that creating? And
Yeah.
how does it look on the other side once I'm through with that? You
And
know?
also, what I noticed, Karina, is when we don't scale certain jobs we do, work as better, as contributing, as whatever we can scale it. As I noticed also, for example, having a conversation with one of my children,
Mm-hmm.
how much does that change the world? Is it contributing? Because within that conversation, we ripple so much energy out into the world that it is
Yeah.
important to be also with that and not making that as something, oh, but I didn't do anything, or there didn't happen anything, and then seeing as, oh, but I created a lot now, whatever it is that we are making graphics or whatever it is. What if we don't make difference anymore, as in better, lesser, more contributing, less contributing, but allowing ourselves really being with every flow and acknowledging that that is the consistency we are putting out into the world.
It's basically rephrasing what you just said is being who I need to be in the moment. Not I am and I have a label, but I am present in the moment and be that energy, be that person, be whatever is required in the moment. And that can shift from moment to moment. And how much is that flow? Being
Yes,
willing to go there and be with it, not
yes,
stop it intellectually and freeze it, so to speak.
exactly. And when you don't freeze it, you are yourself. You
Yeah.
are the flow you are. So then there is that consistency of you into the world in
Hmm.
whatever way it shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
And coming from there, Karina, perhaps we can say something as I noticed for myself that for how long I won't know it, but I am willing to explore more periods of staying silent and exploring within
Hmm.
there. And that led to the idea that we would, for a while, explore what it would create for us to come live 14 days instead of weekly.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
You read my mind. I just wanted to go there too. That we're exploring to do every other week, and we'll definitely uh, commit to skipping next week, next Tuesday, and come on in 2 weeks, and then see where we go from there. And I may do something by myself, but not necessarily on Tuesday. Um, but and that depends. If I do something by myself, depends on where I am energetically and what is
exactly.
going on for me. And so it's really going with the flow in
Yeah.
a bigger sense, and also being willing to let go of the, oh, if you want to get people to follow you, then you need to be consistent so they can know that every day, Tuesday at 10 o'clock, you are on. Maybe that's not necessary.
Exactly, Karina, because being committed, it is due to the commitment that it is like to explore what is
Yeah.
right for me in this moment and for you, and what can work for both of us. And we will explore that. And that is the consistency when we are true, honoring ourselves.
And that is also where we can become the invitation for others to explore what that means for them.
Yes,
Because it can mean something totally different for somebody else.
yes,
And so,
yes,
somebody
because
may
of
go once a week and say, okay, if I really follow the energy for me, that means I'm going every other day.
exactly. It can be.
There is no right or wrong way, or better said, the right way is if you follow your energy.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. And
come from the inside out instead of going mental.
yes, yes. And
So
what is in a day, what is in a week? Time is flying by so fast that perhaps nearly we will noticing it, that it will be only within a period of 14 days instead of 7 days, because the sense can be the same as we are
and,
flowing consistently with what
and
we
what
are on.
else might we create by
Exactly.
only going every other week? So let's explore. We'll explore it, and we'll say in 2 weeks of where we are at that moment in time and what is going on. I think we'll leave it at
Exactly.
that point. And so, wishing everybody the best and have fun exploring things for yourself, because
Having
that's
fun.
where it's actually at.
Exactly. Having fun.
So,
And if you are tired, take a nap, sleep a little bit more, everything is okay.
the world is not going to stop spinning.
No,
The, the earth is taking care of herself. We don't need to
exactly.
run in the treadmill and pull the earth, force the earth to spin.
Exactly. So see
Okay,
you. Bye
take care.
bye.